Thank you for being with us today. I'm Olivia Rios, Director of Operations and Programs at the LA Latino Chamber, and we are concluding Ganas, Growth for America's Negocios Through Access and Scale, and are excited to present today's topic, AI and Digital Infrastructure, presented by Roberto Martinez, CEO of Braven Agency and California Google Coach. And I'd like to congratulate him on being our newest LA Latino board member. So welcome, Roberto. AI and digital infrastructures are important because they are the foundational elements for modern economic development, innovation, and daily life, with digital infrastructure providing the necessary power, storage, and connectivity that AI models require to function and scale. A strong digital infrastructure enables AI to improve efficiencies and can help optimize and manage infrastructures more effectively. Essentially, structure your business and run more efficiently. This time, I'd like to introduce Roberto, a dear friend. And Roberto, help us scale our businesses with AI and having the best digital infrastructure we can. So welcome.
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, LA Latino Chamber of Commerce, for the amazing work that you guys do for our business community in LA, here in LA. Very excited to be here today. I'm excited for the winner. Who's excited to make some money? I see some familiar faces. Cynthia, always great to see your smiling face. Always great to see you join us for digital transformation and AI and how to use these tools. Before we get started, drop in the chat what you'd like to talk about. Drop in the chat what you'd like to learn so we can pull as much information and leverage your business in real life examples. So feel free to drop me a chat of what you hope to get out of this session, and we'll get started. So again, Olivia, thank you so much for introducing myself. And my name is Roberto Martinez. I am your Google California coach. I've been doing that work for 9 years, but more importantly to this point, I own an agency, a digital marketing agency. I also own a software company and a foundation, but those two, the digital marketing agency and the software as a service platform, has really colored my outlook of how we as business owners can leverage digital transformation and AI to grow and scale our business. So really want to get a good sense of who's in the room, how we can help you guys grow, scale by leveraging these amazing tools available to you all. All right, with that, with no further ado, let's get right into it and let's give you guys a clear call to action and some urgency. We need to start leveraging these tools. We need to start incorporating these tools, especially when it comes to digital infrastructure and digital transformation. And I'm gonna use those two terms interchangeably. This has been happening since 2010s within the small business market, especially when enterprise and corporate America, and when the cloud came online. I don't know if you guys remember 10, 15 years ago, everyone was talking about the cloud, get your business on the cloud. And really the cloud is the engine by which digital transformation and digital infrastructure is built on. And so we really want you to understand that when that came online, it allowed us as a business to run more efficiently, lowering our operational costs. I'll touch on that a little bit later. Now with AI, you can marry the data that's coming in from the cloud and make business sense to grow and scale your business. And we're going to talk about those two levers for business owners. One lever is digital transformation using digital infrastructure. The other lever is now with AI, learning about the digital infrastructure you might have built to grow your company. And so it's extremely important to be very aggressive in realizing, hey, this is reality. It's already here. We need to get going. And so here's our journey for today. We're going to talk about what is actually digital infrastructure. We're going to start off with some low-hanging fruit, just table set, and give you guys the necessary tools to have a good understanding of what we're talking about when we say digital infrastructure. Then we'll go into digital infrastructure, AI and operations, digital infrastructure, AI and marketing and sales, give you some case studies, and then walk you through a 30, 60, 90 approach so you could take today's learnings and apply it in a functional, structural way to get your business to increase revenue, lower operational costs, and be ready for 2026. All right, hope you guys are as excited as I am. Abigail already said she's curious about leveraging AI assistance to improve website SEO. I'm glad you mentioned that, Abigail. We do touch a little bit on SEO, which is great. We're definitely going to touch on that. We also have my good friend, and I consider her a mentor, Cynthia Amador. She talks about how we can use ChatGPT to start documents, projects, social media, leveraging, realizing that ChatGPT does leave watermarks that we cannot see, and how do we deconstruct or decode that so that we are aware of what it's leaving behind, so that we communicate factually to our network, how we can get rid of that. That's a great question, Olivia. Cynthia, definitely we'll touch on that a little bit later. Okay, feel free to ask me any more questions. This is your time. We have about 45 minutes to go through this presentation, and then we'll turn it over to our partners at Delta and Amex. Great. Okay, so let's just get into the weeds. What is digital transformation? Why are we talking about this now in 2025? And so what we want you to think through is, and this is just a high-level overview of what it is. It's defining your business's digital foundation and understanding that the infrastructure by which the world business runs is on the cloud already. And this technology is the backbone of 90% of the business that you interact with. It be your vendors, supply chains, your paid ad specialists, your Googles of the world, your Amazons of the world, your Deltas of the world. They're all using this digital infrastructure. They're all using this infrastructure that's all been created on the cloud. And so a clear-cut understanding that's very easy to understand is just logistically, you want to know if there's, especially now with the tariffs, if we have a certain amount of products coming in, how many products are coming in, how many products are coming out, and where is it housed? And so the digital infrastructure allows us as a business owner that might be shipping or exporting to have a clear understanding of that information. Just-in-time shipping is one of the key things. If you're a trucker and you're moving those products across the United States, the digital infrastructure, again, helps you manage all that data. But it's not just transportation that works with digital infrastructure. You could think about it as a restaurant who has to have a better understanding of how much food and products they're buying. You could think about it as your own business who might be on Microsoft, who might be on Google, who might be in AWS, and all their content, your documents, your videos, your website is all being hosted in the cloud. So that's an aspect of digital infrastructure. I'm gonna give you 3 clear-cut platforms that are hypercharged for digital transformation. And this terminology comes from 2010, so it's a little bit dated, but this was happening because what ended up occurring within our marketplace as an economy is that the cost to host data dropped. What does that mean? I don't know if you guys remember, but many moons ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, there was actually servers in your office, this big list servers where all your data, all your information was being hosted. And now that was very expensive. You could think about the energy it consumes. You could think about how much terabytes you have to have on file. You could think about one big issue that we confront, which is cybersecurity, being secure in those spaces. You can see movies of robbers breaking into spaces and then trying to steal that information. The one that I always find hilarious is Zoolander, and they try to steal the information from a computer. That computer was holding data, and so they're trying to get into the data. So that was 15, 20 years ago. Cloud computing changed all that. Now you don't need to have these servers in your office, in your company space. It could all be hosted in the cloud. What are these clouds? These are remote locations that your AWS's, your Verizon's, your T-Mobile's, your anything that runs the internet is hosting all that data there. And you're just paying a fee to allow that to host. And that's because the cost to host dropped. And so the digital infrastructure is built off the cloud. So that's a really important concept to think about. But more importantly to us as small business owners is, okay, that's great, Roberto. Why do I care? Like, tell me why I should care. Tell me why I should care about having the digital infrastructure, and how this relates to AI. Like, okay, got it. I use Microsoft One. I use Google Workspace on there, and I have all my content on the drive. Well, that's because now you have the advent of AI. So you have digital transformation by building out infrastructure, and then you have AI. And those two things are going to and are changing the way we do business. It moves things from manual to automated, because now it's really important just to have a basic understanding that AI learns through content, learns through data. The more information you give AI, the more it learns about your specific business, your specific work, your specific quote unquote workflow. And so the more data you can give it from the cloud, the more informed it's going to be and the more useful it's going to be. So you could move from manual to automated. You could do to disconnected 5 different servers connecting into the cloud into one integration through third-party integration and AI. You can start from being reactionary as a business owner and thinking, well, how do I get in front of these new businesses? What do they care about? To proactive, hey, this data is telling me that I should market this way, create a sales flow funnel this way, create this type of inventory this way, manage my inventory this way, so I could streamline my operations. And if you streamline operations, what happens? Operational cost drops and you save money, which is what we want to do. And that allows you to reinvest that money for what? For scale, for your business to grow and scale. And so it's really part and parcel what's going on in the marketplace. And so when you're thinking about another tool that you have in your toolshed, like a website that's hosted in the cloud, you might have a CRM tool. I know multiple chambers have multiple types of CRM tools. A consumer relationship management tool just allows us to understand our customer. For example, if have you guys ever talked to a sales rep or a vendor and they send you a proposal? They send you a proposal and they say, hey, here's a proposal. Here's a sell for widgets or for paid ads or for using our solution. And you get that email, and then you open that email maybe a couple hours after it came into your inbox, and then they shoot you an email right away, or they give you a call right away. You're like, how do they know I opened that email? Well, that's because the CRM tool, it tracks that data. It tracks the fact that you can open that website, that email, and now it could say, hey, I know you're opening the email. They probably won't say it that way, but they'll tell you, yeah, great. I'd love to talk more about what just happened. Let me know if you have any questions about the sales deck that we just presented. Booking systems allows you to, what is that? That's all hosted in the cloud. Connect to calendars. Now you can manage that calendar remotely and you can set out invoices automatically. How many times have we received an invoice, didn't touch it, open it up, and then we have the accounts payable person saying, hey, let us know if you have any questions about the invoice. That's because everything is hosted on the cloud. That cloud pings the business owner or the vendor, hey, this action is going on. For you to convert that client, for you to get that payment, it might be a good idea to shoot them a sale. Same thing happens with point of sale systems, especially inventory point of sale systems. You're running out of chicken, you're running out of steak for restaurants. And then for the pieces that some of you guys are really interested in, social media, we're going to have a whole case study around social media and how you can create content and use AI to create content to really transform your business in the way you engage with your small business owners and your prospective clients. Okay, so I know we have a few other questions here that folks want to learn. I know Matza said, can GPT help construction companies and how? Can AI help construction companies and how? Yes, it can. And we'll walk through a workflow. That's extremely important. And a workflow just means, how do I manage my day-to-day? What are things I do that are repetitive that I could leverage AI for to help me operationalize and streamline my processes? Andy says, how do I do what you do sort of, but I'm only been doing this for my own company. I like to learn how to find customers to do that for as well. So Andy's saying, hey, I kind of understand how to do this. I want to do this for customers as a consultant. How do I go about doing this? And then obviously leads. Okay, great. I see your questions. Keep them coming. So we talked about the cloud. People are like, what is SaaS? Software as a service. So software can be anything that you see here. Salesforce, Zendesk, Monday was the project management to Soho, um, Google Cloud. Those are all softwares. They're selling you a software. You guys remember 35 years ago, 40 years ago? It's almost 40 years ago now, 30 years ago for sure, where you used to buy your Windows operating system and they used to come in a box and a CD-ROM, and you used to insert that CD-ROM into your computer and then upload that software onto your computer. Well, now with the cloud, you don't need CD-ROMs. You could do it automatically as you have a network connection. The power of SaaS, or a software as a service, is that think about the retainer model that they have as a business. Hey, you're using my software, I'm gonna charge you monthly. You could think about Netflix as a software as a service. There's PaaS, product as a service. There's IS, infrastructure as a service, and there's CRM. So all these elements are core components of digital infrastructure. And so it's really important to realize, hey, am I as a business owner on the cloud? Am I leveraging the right digital technologies to run more efficiently and effectively? Have I created an infrastructure to run operationally effective and efficient to lower my cost? And what that allows you to do as a business owner is centralize all the data that's coming in, all the information that's coming in from your business, regardless if it's sales, if it's customers, if it's clients, if it's your own employee base. What time do they log in? What time do they log out? How much time are they spending on their laptop? How much time are they spending on this particular software? You could track all that information and you can start thinking about ways to improve that. And it also helps you with retention. Let's say you do know that those folks are opening those emails, then you could just ping them and say, hey, love to chat right now. Are you free to talk to about the solution that we sent you? Or think about it as a chamber. You send out that email for new clients, new members, and you know that they opened it at that point in time, specifically the membership deck, and you're like, hey, great, I'd love to talk to you about the membership. All these allow you to do smart business decisions. So that is like the bell and whistle and the functionality of what digital infrastructure provides. But why is it so important? Why is this so important? Because we already know that businesses have been doing this for 15 plus, 20 plus years. Over 57% of firms have reported an increase in revenue by improving their digital infrastructure, and the return on investment is very high. It's 8 to 1. So for each dollar you spend, you get $8 in return. And we know for a fact that folks that use CRM tools as a digital infrastructure play are reducing customer acquisition costs. All that means is, hey, I brought in a new customer, but that customer loves me so much, it stays with me. How do we do that? By sending them emails at the right time, by sending them text messages at the right time, by communicating to them when they're free. So all that stuff is not just magic. We as a business owners can now understand the life and lifestyle of our clients within their workspace, because we can create these CRM tools to inform us of how many times they open the email, how many quote unquote touch points, how many times do we have to touch them before they buy from us. Cynthia asked, if a small business has a database of 800 clients, what are a few recommendations on how to best use to engage those clients? That's a great question. So we already know those small business has 800 clients. That's an amazing feat. Who are our power users? What do I mean by power users? Let's say you're selling widgets, and so everything follows a bell curve, 80-20 principle. So 20% of your customer base drives 80% of your revenue. Understanding those 20% customer base, so out of those 800 folks, you have what? You have 140 that are your power users. Understanding why they're buying from you. How do they got to buy from you so much? Using the CRM tool to understand their habits. Using the data that's coming in. How many times do they call you guys? How many times did you touch that customer before they converted? All that is housed within your CRM tool. That's part of your digital infrastructure, right? Now, but here's the beauty of it. Now you can use AI to hypercharge that. So now you as a human can see, okay, well, there's a lot of data here. There's a lot of Excel sheets here. There's a lot of customers here, 800 customers. That's a lot of customers. Well, now what you can do is download those data sets and query your AI agent, like a ChatGPT, like a Gemini, like a what's the Microsoft agent? I forget. And you could create prompts and say, hey, of these 800, 140 power users, what are unique functionalities and interests and habits these guys have based on this data set? And then upload the data set, ask the AI tool to filter out that information, and the AI tool will be able to do that and give you real time suggestions in a matter of seconds. So that's a clear-cut way you can take the data that you have with your digital infrastructure to help make sound business decisions so you could keep growing and identifying those 140 power users within your company. Great question, Cynthia. Okay, so we always want to set it and forget it. So think about operationally, how do I run more efficiently? We don't want to shoot out emails, and when we get an email, shoot it out automatically. What can we do? We could set up a drip campaign. What's a drip campaign? We could set up a way for those emails to be sent every other day or once a week for a month to do it very easily. What about scheduling? We can set up those schedules when a prospective customer makes an appointment to keep on reminding. You might already realize this, but in Zoom, when you register for this webinar, it's already sending you emails automatically. So that's an automated process. And then Zoom can tell our friend Olivia, here's how many people opened those emails. Here's how many people checked that information. Here's how many people logged in early, to have a better sense of the why. And so now we don't have to guess why you guys are logging in early. We have a pretty good understanding of what's going on when you do log in. Same thing with the inventory and supplies. Once you have the CRM tool, vendor management tool set up, you could start understanding how much product you need to buy to make sure you're properly delivering on the vendor side and have the products you need that your customers love. Especially now that we're getting into the holiday season, the worst thing you can do is run out of inventory during the holiday season, our peak season. We don't want to do that. So what I mentioned, and Olivia Copilot, thank you so much. That's exactly right. What we used with our friend Cynthia, we used a real life example of how if they have a CRM tool set up, which 90% of businesses that have 800 clients definitely have a CRM tool, we can start leveraging and understanding that data to make informed business decisions. And so we can make what we call the data talk to us. And we don't have to be data engineers. There's a whole other marketplace, a whole other career trajectory for folks who take the data in and make sense of the data to inform our sales team, to inform our operational team. Imagine if you can understand, hey, we have some money to invest in research and development. We have some money to invest into a new product. What should the product be? Well, with the CRM tool, it'll tell you this product is what clients love. Here's what clients are buying from you, and they absolutely love it. And the best part is you don't have to be an MBA major or go through analytics courses to understand how to do this. All you need to do is now marry that data with AI. And you could create an AI dashboard. You could start using what we call predictive analytics, where the information is telling you prospective future habits of your customer base, prospective future habits of your vendors, prospective future habits of your supply chain. And what that allows you to do is act before you need to act to capture the value as a business owner. And so these type of tools really amplify your ability to work more efficiently and effectively. Abigail says, I use a CRM tool, but find it I need a tech. Yes. Can AI help create the workflow? I love this question. So Abigail has asked a great question. A whole other business model for CRM tools is exactly what Abigail just asked. Sometimes when I'm not going to throw any CRM tool under the table, but there's these legacy, larger than life, billion-dollar CRM companies that literally you need to hire what we call an admin, an administrator. That salary for that administrator is $60,000 to $70,000. And the CRM tool trains administrators to go into your company and implement the CRM tool You can obviously hire them as employees, or you could hire them as contractors. But that's a great question. You can definitely do that, or you can use AI. You could say, hey, here's the CRM tool I have. Here's my current workflow. And what is it? So the question is going to be, what is a workflow? It is the step-by-step action I need to take to complete this process of work. So if it's developing a brand, buying inventory, selling product, there's a step-by-step process that you as a business owner need to do. You outline that business workflow, and then you say, great, here's my business workflow for this specific space within HR, within legal, within operations, within onboarding a client, within onboarding a customer. These are all workflows. Think about how long it takes to onboard a client. Think about how long it takes to onboard a new employee. You could identify, like, we have to have this meeting and that meeting and this email and this manual. And so all that if you can create that workflow, then you can add it, excuse me, you could add it to an AI multimodal tool like Copilot, like Gemini, and they'll create a workflow for you. An AI workflow will say, here's the places that are repetitive that you can interject an AI tool to help you run more efficiently. There's a great tool that Google has called Notebook LM. I don't know if you guys have used it before, but Notebook LM is a closed system database that allows you to communicate and talk to your data in a closed system. What does that even mean? That means if I have a PDF for my work manual, and I'm a restaurant owner, right? I'm a restaurant owner. I have an onboarding process for the cooks. I have an onboarding process for the servers. I have an onboarding process for the host. And I have a manual that talks all about that. I could make a PDF, upload that PDF, which is my work manual PDF, into Notebook LM, and then train my employees to ask that notebook questions. And you could talk to your data in this form. The data would be the notebook, the handbook of new employees. And you could ask the questions. Hey, what is PTO? How many sick days do I have? How do I properly clean the kitchen? And as you're asking it questions, it responds back in written format. It could respond back as a person, as a human, as an audio file, talking to you as a human, telling you what the handbook says. And it could do it in multiple languages. It could be doing it in English, in Vietnamese, in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Korean, in whatever language you needed to do it. And you could upload multiple workbooks. Think about how that streamlines the process as opposed to the employee reaching out to HR, right? It just slows things down. Let me pause there and see if we have any questions here. Okay, great. So now, this is all great, Roberto. We're living in the future. Fantastic, right? We have all this data. We set up our infrastructure play, our digital infrastructure play. We know how to use CRM tools. We know how to use project management tools. We're operationalizing our sales funnel. This is fantastic. Where am I exposed? Well, cybersecurity, right? Because now you're centralizing everything in one place. What does that mean? We are, as a business owner, exposed. And so AI can be used to improve your cybersecurity threat and lower that threat, because 87%, I forget the number, Stanford did a study 4 years ago about what happens with cybersecurity, and 80 to 90% of the time, it's human error. What does this mean? The human did not properly protect the password. The human got caught in a phishing scam. The human did not properly shut down the computer. And so you can create a whole course using AI to protect your business. The best part is most of these products that you're running on have some level of sophistication when it comes to cybersecurity. But if you're a business that has to be HIPAA compliant, you can add additional layers using AI. And there's some amazing stuff already happening within that space. With AI threat detection, we are able to identify AI threats. And you could even use the AI tool to say, okay, where's my vulnerabilities at when it comes to my online digital infrastructure? Can you make an assessment? Can you audit my online digital infrastructure to see where my vulnerabilities are and how I mitigate that risk of cybersecurity. And they'll go through and they'll say, give me back-end access to your website, to your POS system, and they'll show you how to go about doing that to mitigate that risk. That's in essence what a consultant would do. Now the AI tool can do it for you. What's really cool, close down your computer. Yes. Yes, that's exactly right, Cynthia. And so it's human error most of the time, but it'll identify those opportunities that that bad actors have. The cool thing is there's already AI being used. How many of us have tried to deposit a check at 3 o'clock at night or have been traveling abroad and our credit card is denied? That's because AI is saying this is outside the norm of our friend Abigail. This is outside the norm of our friend Matza. And so why are they pulling money out in, Italy? I'm like, well, I was on summer vacation. That's what I was doing it. But they'll flag it. Say, hey, that's a flag, and they're using AI. All right, I got to keep going a little bit faster just because we're running out of time here. I want to get to some fun stuff that you guys have some questions about. The space that I live in is digital marketing and software as a service. So I'm going to show you a real life example of how we as an agency are helping our small businesses operationalize customer relationships, operationalize content creation, operationalize sales funnels. So here we have an example of Ramona Italian restaurant. And so they're like, hey, Roberto, how do we improve here? AI-powered insights. Use Toast IQ, which is a POS system, to identify order flows, kitchen bottlenecks, identify best way to prep the food, and to upsell for existing clients. How do we make sure that the staffers are communicating properly, are using the in-app properly, and how do we make sure that everything is safe and secure? And so we identify some opportunities. We were able to reduce wait time by 70% during peak hours. We improved the staff updating using those manual tools that I told you about with Notebook LM. We enhanced data security by doing that audit. So it's a clear-cut example of how you can think about your traditional brick and mortar company and use AI and other AI tools to improve the workflow. So now let's talk about marketing itself and how we can use marketing to improve ourselves. And so, this is just a high-level overview. I'm not going to spend too much time, but with this overview, when it comes to marketing, but you could create content, you could specialize that content, you could personalize that content, you can optimize that content, and you can receive real-time feedback. So how do we go about doing that? Well, now with AI, you can create content very quickly. You create videos, blogs, emails, social media posts using ChatGPT, using Gemini, using Nano Banana, using Soar to create the content. You can even say, here's my, Cynthia had a great example of like 40 clients, 140 power users. She could upload that list of client users and say, okay, find common threads. What content is the best content for these 140 customers? And they'll create you a go-to-market strategy or a digital marketing strategy to communicate to those type of customers, because those are your prospective customers, and you want those customers using you and working with you. So let me show you a clear-cut example of how we were able to take and engage using an avatar. So think about it as restaurant owners, think about it as anything that has to do with compliance, anything that has to do with personal training, upskilling, and in different languages. We have a partner called Calassian, and Calassian allows us to record ourselves, and we'll record ourselves, upload those videos, and then speak on our behalf. And we could tell it exactly, we could write a script for it. We could say, hey, write this script for myself talking to new hires in Mexico, in Colombia, and have it do it in Spanish or in the Spanish Colombian dialect. You can do that with this type of tool. That helps me operationalize my onboarding process, lower my costs to onboard, and create some type of culture there. So how can an AI avatar be used? Employing onboarding, customer education, for those folks that have to consistently update and upskill their employees because new regulations, I'm thinking accountants, I'm thinking financial advisors, I'm thinking lawyers, they always have to be up to the latest piece of information, news, and laws. You can create this compliancy, customer education, self-enablement. You could upskill your sales force without having to have a sales rep there training them, just by creating this video. And this video can live within your space in the cloud as long as you want it to. So let me give you an example of what that looks like. A couple months ago, we were in Orlando for the SBDC National Conference. And they were asking us, well, okay, we really care about avatars. Can you help me understand avatars and how we can leverage avatars? And so myself and our strategist, Marlon Fuentes, flew down there and ran this workshop. This is Marlon. He recorded himself talking, but talking like this. Just like that, not having any words come out. And this is what we came up with as an example.
Hello and welcome to America's SBDC annual training on the future of work. I'm Marlon's digital twin. Today, our session will focus on ways AI can support small business leaders and consultants by removing frictions to creativity and working smarter. While live human empathy will always remain an essential component of professional development, AI can make it easy to transfer knowledge at scale, giving anyone the ability to create and update learning videos using text. Today's session is meant to inspire you to think of characters like me as part of your creative toolkit, opening up creative possibilities for using generative AI. Go kanji ya itadaki arigatou gozaimasu. Ohuashi dekiru no wo leishi shitemasu.
Isn't that cool? Marlon does not speak Japanese, but he can speak in whatever language as long as he has his avatar up, which is amazing. I absolutely love this specific tool. And so let me keep walking you through that and give you a concrete example of what we did in a matter of 30 minutes prior to presenting. So we're in Orlando. We're presenting to a group of about 100 small business owners and SBDC consultants. And we found this cafe called Mama's Cafe. And Mama's Cafe is a brick and mortar shop, very loved by the community, but hasn't updated their content, hasn't updated the digital infrastructure, doesn't have a strong website, strong social media presence. So we said, okay, let's take the existing AI tools to improve their online presence, improve their ability to sell. And so on the right-hand side, you see the website. On the left-hand side, you're seeing the tools that we use to create this content in 30 minutes. I think it was like 27 minutes. The first thing we did is we just took a snapshot, made a basic assessment. Here's their social media account. Here's their business listing. Here's their website. You can tell it's not a very strong website. It's just not very thought out, not very useful. And so how do we improve this? Well, we took that and we said, okay, let's create some really cool content. So we went on Gemini and we used Gemini's multimodal design elements and told it, hey, Gemini, here's a picture of Mama's Coffee bear. Have it create a picture of a bear dressed as a barista doing a pour over. And the image gave us this on the right-hand side. So that content was done in a matter of 15 seconds. We took that, we said, this is great, thank you so much. And then we moved it over and we asked VO3 within Gemini to create a video using that image of the bear pouring over coffee. And this is what it gave us.
Join me at Mama's Coffee.
So really easy, 3 to 5 seconds, done. Okay, that's good, but how do we make it more engaging? Well, I absolutely love music. I know you guys love music. I know you guys are going to be at the LA Latino Chamber Christmas party and they always have great music. So we decided to pull a lot of images, create a lot of images and create a song to Mama's Coffee. I am very proud of the fact that I wrote this song, but I used AI to make it into a song. So this is my AI rendition for Mama's Coffee.
Here to tell you about Mama. Mama's coffee to bring you peace of mind. Here to help you, peace of mind from the morning grind. Join me for Mama's coffee to bring that to you.
That was done in a matter of 2 minutes. This is Marlon's song. I don't like it as much, but
Coffee, the morning's hum, the quiet.
so you could kind of have an idea of how you're leveraging AI to improve and optimize. You could do the same thing for your website. Now we're pivoting from creating content to SEO. And I know some of us were asking about SEO. You can literally tell Gemini, tell ChatGPT, hey, do an SEO assessment of my website. I'm going to give you backend access. You could give Gemini backend access to your website to get a better understanding of what's called technical SEO, which is what do I need to build on the back end on my website to make it run better. So just really low hanging fruit that you can do to improve your automation here for SEO. And then AI is already running on advertising. You could do smart A/B testing, smart bids, geolocation, geolanguage, retargeting using any type of social media paid ads, because all that is data that the social media channel or the search engine will give you. It will give you all that information about your ads. It'll tell you, here's how we improve it. Take that information, run it through AI, and see how you can improve your advertising. I'm not going to dive too much on the content creation side. Obviously, we don't have enough time to talk about prompt engineering, prompt chaining, but you could obviously ask it questions to create content for you, headlines for you, really useful applications. And when we start thinking about your sales cycle, you can leverage AI to be a chatbot, to send out quotes, to book requests, to provide content in the language that the consumer is using on a day-to-day basis, uh, and also trigger timely responses. This is many years ago, 9 years ago now, and almost 10. But there was a study by the Harvard Business Review that said if you respond to a sales query within 10 minutes, your chances of converting that sale is 30%. If you respond within 5 minutes, it's at 60%. So now AI can get you to respond quickly and efficiently and effectively. Okay, guys. One last thing, just personalizing everything. We talked about the avatar tool. We talked about operations. We talked about how to improve your operations. We talked about marketing. Now let's get into where do you start? So, how do we get from the right, that image on the right where like we're doing everything to like relaxing and letting our AI agent get started? And I always start with, a 30, 60, 90 strategy and crawl, walk, and run, right? Identify your business's pain point or opportunity. Just like where does it hurt? What am I not doing well? What do I have to improve? Or what are opportunity areas? And then create a workflow. Don't think about AI, just create a workflow. Like, okay, operationally, here's the steps that I do that's a really pain in the butt for me. On the sales side, here's the things that I do that's really pain in the butt for me. You could outline all that and then start using that workflow, upload it to your Gemini, to your ChatGPT, to your Copilot, and have it create an AI workflow. Then you take and you prioritize it based on like what's the most important or the most painful thing that I don't want to do, and start there and work backwards, right? And that's your 30, 60, 90 campaign. So if you want to look at it from a high level, the first 25 days is understanding what the pain point is or what the opportunity is, and then creating workflow, because all workflow now is AI workflow. We just have to draft the workflow and then start using that AI workflow, start integrating the digital infrastructure that it's going to recommend you by default, because this is already in the market. It's going to recommend you certain types of digital infrastructure to help you run more efficiently and effectively. You start implementing that in month 2.5, and then you go back and then you review your data. You say, okay, I did this. What does the data say? Are we selling more? Are we lowering our operational cost? Are we improving our employee base? Are we working smarter, not harder?
I don't know.
So I'll send you guys this deck, just a high level overview of different tools that might pop up when you do this exercise on your own. We're at time. I'd like to thank you all for joining me today. I apologize for my voice. I appreciate the questions. I like how engaged everyone is. Um, but with that, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, Olivia and Anna, for having me here. And I'll turn it over to you guys.
Well, thank you, Roberto. We actually have a little more time. We had allocated to 1:15, but let me just go through some of these questions that are on the meeting chat. So Andres has asked, are you starting to strategize more for GEO
Gee,
2? What are
yeah.
some of the basic updates to help with it?
So it's industry sector business specific. There's
Mhm,
no overarching strategy that you can implement. Uh,
mhm,
so what we're seeing more is on the AI multimodal solutions. How can your business pop up as a recommendation for AI? So think about if you type in what is the best company for construction in LA County? Or like, hey, I want to find the right contractor in LA County.
mhm,
You want to pop up in that result that AI is going to provide.
mhm,
And so that is something that is being, there's whole marketing agencies focusing on that one piece. How do we sell AI SEO to businesses? And there's like, we could dive in, but it's very much industry specific. We could talk about that. But you know what? My one, in business school, everyone would say, it depends. Content is king. Understanding content and understanding how the AI identifies the content. All right. What's the next question, Olivia?
Let's see. Luis Vega writes, it's very impressive all the things one can do with AI, even replace us. Ouch. I would like to learn more about how to use technology. So he left his email there, and then a lot of great stuff. Thank you. But I did have a couple questions like, what are your recommendations for our CRM? I am certain that there's a variety based on the industry, but let's take someone who does, I think you used an example of a restaurant, but let's take someone like Luis Vega.
I set up the system for payment.
Okay, so Roberto, how can he leverage technology to boost either sales or knowledge that he's probably the best salesperson in LA County who provides a service?
I love this question, and I'm gonna tie it up to Luis Vega, and I'm gonna tie it up to what we talked about on the deck. So let's take a step back. You know, technology is not gonna replace you. It's a tool, it's a lever, it's a hammer. It's what could you do with a hammer? You can, be a carpenter, you can create a house. It it's dependent on the human to identify how we use the hammer, right? Same thing with AI. AI is just another tool in our tool shed as entrepreneurs. It's dependent on us to understand how we use that tool. It's
Mhm.
never going to replace humans, not at least at this point. You got to marry robotics with AI, and then we could talk. But at this point in juncture, that's not a reality. Maybe in 5 years, 7 years, maybe that will be a reality. So we have time, guys. Nothing's going to happen. Why is that important as a business owner? Because you're not in competition with AI. You're in competition with businesses who are leveraging, who are adopting, who are managing AI for their business. That's who you're in competition to. You're not in competition with AI. You're in competition with the businesses who are saying, I'm nervous, I'm scared, I don't know this space very well, but I need to adopt this new tool to be more efficient, to lower my operational costs, to increase my sales. That's the thing. And then for the example, Olivia, that you were using for our friend here, AI allows us to be what's called value add. So think about your phone, right? Who created this phone? It's engineers in Silicon Valley and Apple's in the Bay. They engineered the app, the solution, the OS system, and then they shipped it out
Mhm.
to Asia to manufacture it because that's not where the value add is. The value add is in the thinking of how to make this phone the most efficient phone. We can have them manufacture it, then it ships back over here, and that is the value. You all, as entrepreneurs, are the value add. You guys are doing the grunt work. Well, with AI now, maybe you can operationalize and streamline 80% of your workflows. It takes time, but that's the name of the game. And then what Joe can do is be a added value to the customer. So I'll give you lower the cost of going to market means lowering the cost potentially of the price point that you're selling your service for. And then you become, hey, I am the expert that can interpret how to implement this POS system the most efficiently and effectively, how to lower your percentages, from like 3 cents to 2.5 cents. The AI solution, all it's going to do is show me how to improve operationally that solution, but I still have to take that information. This is called the human in the loop for those of us who are interested in AI. I am the human in that loop of workflow that has to interpret the recommendations the AI provides me. So then I could take that and implement it with my magic sauce, with the thing that makes me distinct and unique relative to everyone else within the POS space.
Okay. I have another question. This is an Olivia question. So I heard or I've seen that Canva is a great tool because we use it internally that can help anyone who is semi-creative with creating proposals, templates, and presentations, that can help you save money and be wise operationally to be able to create these PowerPoint presentations or decks that, for either for sponsorship or for event wise and other things. So do you recommend that? Because that can possibly replace like a graphic artist, but it's not being creative. You could use some of the templates to kind of generate something to present. Can you share a little bit about that?
I'm more than happy to present. This is my bread and butter. First, I'd like to tell Cynthia, I will connect with you offline regarding your question of the watermarks for AI and the watermarks for Gemini and other platforms. And I'll send you a video of how to fix that. So I didn't forget about you. I'll take care of you. Just give me 24 hours. Regarding your question, Olivia, that's a great question, but use the same framework. Mostly what I'm talking about are frameworks. How do we think differently through this new reality that we're living in? Okay, well, what is the value add? The value add is on the designer. The designer has 10, 15, 20 years of experience. You're not going to replace that with AI. AI might get you 70 to 80% there, and then the graphic designer can come in. And what does that allow you to do? That person, she or he, can look at the deck and then improve it very rapidly. So what does that do as a business model or as a business? It lowers your operational cost. So I'll give you a black and white example because I love this example, Olivia. And this is something that it is our magic sauce as owner of Braven Agency, and part of our digital marketing agency is design elements, brands, social media, AI content. We have to go through a lot of different branding elements. We have to create logos for a lot of businesses in a given year, in the hundreds. We go through hundreds of businesses a given year. It cost me before AI and Canva a lot of money to pay for the hours that the designer had to do to create what you said, the deck, the presentation, the pitch deck, the sales deck, whatever it happens to be. Well, for our business, we create capability statements, but primarily, let's say this is just the example of a logo, it's just the example of a brand style guide. It used to take 10 hours to do without AI. Now, what ends up happening is the designer can create concepts of logos that typically took her 10 hours. Now she does it in 3 hours using AI, using Canva, using Adobe. So now it goes from 10 hours to 3 hours, gets it in front of the client within a matter of 2, 3 hours. Here's 3 concepts. These aren't going to be yours. We just need to build off of them. The customer gives them real-time feedback. I like this color. I like this design. I want you to make perfect. Takes that, and then she adds the value. She adds, okay, now I'm going to spend 2 to 3 hours taking what that customer told me and then creating a logo based on their recommendations without having to spend 10 hours on creating 3 concepts. Now, those 3 concepts were created by AI, and the designer only has to do is get the information back from the customer to design that 1 or 2 logos that they finally land on. So it went from spending 10 hours to 5 hours. How much money does that save me as a agency? A lot of money, right? 5 hours per logo. Now you multiply that about 100 logos that we do a given year. You kind of see the opportunity that we have here as a marketing agency to lower that cost. Same thing applies for you guys, Olivia. If you guys have those templates, you go from taking 5 days, 7 days to responding to a sales deck for a client to 2 to 3 days. And so now you could talk to way more clients. And if you talk to more clients, it just leads to reason that you're going to convert more.
Mhm. Okay. And then there was a question on cybersecurity. So how can we find out which cybersecurity platform is best for our system? I guess it depends on what we do, or can you elaborate on that?
Great question. We go back to the framework, all right? So so this is a whole other conversation of how we talk to I like to think about it as how you train your dragon, because I love growing up Disney movies, and it depends how we communicate with that tool. So that's part of your prompt engineering. What we want to do is write the right types of prompts so that we can get the right type of answers that we want from the tool. And so specifically industry specifically set gain point, specifically what you want to improve on, what are the regulations. So you structure that prompt in a way that really speaks to your specific business. You submit that prompt in any one of those AI tools that we mentioned earlier, and it'll give you recommendations on what they recommend, and then cross-reference. Okay, thank you so much. You take that prompt and then you drop it in Copilot. You take that prompt and you drop it in Gemini. You take that prompt and you drop it in ChatGPT, and then you compare which one is the best one. I even have a friend. What he'll do is, hey, as a specific AI agent, I want you to draft the best prompt for this type of question. Pretend you are talking to yourself and you're going to write the best prompt to answer this question, and they'll draft you the prompt that you should ask it. So the tools there, it's just up to our creativity. I think Jose said it best, or excuse me, Luis said it best. It's up to our creativity to do this.
Okay.
And I'll drop in my email, because some folks are asking for my email. Feel free to reach out to me.
Okay. Yes, that would
Good
be great.
chat.
And then we'll also, you shared that we can provide the deck to our folks who are with us today. So we'll do
Happy
that.
to.
In there, we'll add your agency's contact. So in case anyone wants to, you could provide services to their organization or needs to reach out to your team, that would be really grateful. So at this, I want to thank you. We can always talk about AI and how we can really scale our businesses, but I also want to mention that you were, before I say my thank yous, but you were also part of the USHCC Board of Directors, and I know you've been really instrumental in not only helping our, LA Latino Chamber, but you help chambers across the country, and we're grateful for what you do for all the businesses, because we really need this type of information to be spread out and learn, right? And it's really key that we support. So through the efforts and partnerships with USHCC and Wells Fargo, we are grateful not only for supporting our programs and the chambers, but allowing us to produce great programming to help scale businesses. And if you're not a member of the chamber, there's a lot of value into being one. We are working on programming for 2026 through the support and the generosity of member of our supporters. We're able to provide this grant and hopefully more in the near future. We just need to make sure that it's in line with everything that we do. But in the meantime, if you have questions about the chamber, or you feel that there's a certain topic or programming that we should be doing, let us know. We have our eyes and ears in many areas, but it's amplified when we hear from you, the members or the community, to what we could do better, especially when it comes to programming. We try to do a lot of what other chambers are not doing, because you could have the same training and it's across the board for 5 or 6 different chambers. I'm always challenging the status quo of, we've been there, done that, I want more. Our members need more. So the more information we have, the more type of opportunities and learning opportunities we have, the better we are prepared to not only participate in community events or contracting opportunities, but the more we can grow. Thank you everyone for joining us, and have a fabulous Thursday afternoon.